this year. Our chair is Cheryl D'Amico, who you just heard from. Stu Smith is vice chair, and Jean Lynch is secretary. And we really appreciate all the work that you all have done this year. And we have a certificate of honor which states, in recognition of your outstanding commitment to improving the San Francisco Paratransit program for seniors and persons with disabilities. And you all have one of those certificates to take home with you today. I also wanted to, the PCC Review Committee voted to give a special recognition award this year to a new committee that came out of the Executive Committee, and that's the PCC's Taxi Advisory Committee. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, that committee now reviews every single permit application for a ramp taxi here in San Francisco and makes recommendations to the Taxi Commission on whether that driver is at the level to provide the kind of service that we all expect with the ramp taxi program. And the chair of that committee was Pat Lovelock, and the vice chair, Deanne Hendricks. So you will be receiving a certificate if you are on that committee too. Another thing that we don't usually do is to also recognize the other SFMTA staff. You all know Kate and I and Jamie and Virginia and Marina, but there's a lot of SFMTA staff as well as other city department staff that really are involved in paratransit services. And I wonder if those of you who are staff in the city, if you could just raise your hand. I know Robin's there, yours. Judson True. These are people who are working in the background. They're people who are handling the contracts and handling finance and contract compliance and the city attorney's office and the Department of Aging and Adult Services, and all of them have a role in making that paratransit service work. Another group that I think is really important to recognize is the people who do the day-to-day work. At the broker's office at Veolia Transportation, could you please raise your hands, those of you who work at Veolia at the Paratransit, San Francisco Paratransit office? You see them spread out around the room. And there's a lot in the back. They're working right now. And I wanted to mention that Becky Chan is the finance manager for Veolia, and she has worked for 3 paratransit contractors and worked for 24 years on paratransit services here in San Francisco. So I especially want to recognize Becky, who's back in the back by the heart. And the last and probably most important group are the drivers and the taxi providers and the van providers, because without the day-to-day getting people from point A to point B, we would have no paratransit service. So could all the drivers and company representatives please raise their hands? And the one last thing I wanted to mention in terms of people that have made an impact, Bruce alluded to this earlier as well, is there's a lot of people who have been PCC members who have now passed away, but worked with us for many, many years, and we've had to fill their shoes. And you'll see in the newsletter there's an article about some of the contributions, but there's been huge contributions that have been made by citizens in San Francisco. And I guess what all of this brings back to me is, I guess it takes a village to provide paratransit services. It takes a lot more than the drivers. It takes a lot more than, it takes all of us. And I guess we're lucky that we live in a village called San Francisco where commitment to inclusion, to involvement, and to innovation is the order of the day. Everyone should be so blessed. The last thing I just wanted to mention before I step down is that Kate Torin and the PCC Planning and Review Committee have planned this whole event today, and I think we owe them a debt of gratitude. Here's to 30 more, right?
Thank you, Annette. I just learned something that I didn't know. We are all village people. And that was 30 years ago too, wasn't it? That's what my mom tells me. Anyway, Mark Soto. Mark Soto has been with us, I think, since 2001, Mark? 2000. And come on up, Mark. When he started, he had no gray hair, and look at the guy now. Oh, what we've done to him. And 30 years ago, Mark too was in high school, and we put you through the College of Hard Knocks, haven't we, Mark?
Sure have.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm supposed to be brief and light. I don't know if I'm going to succeed. Thank you. I have to deal with this. This is why I have gray hair. Today is a day to celebrate, and I'm here to start off by thanking a lot of people that made the San Francisco Paratransit program the success that it is. Mr. Ford, Director Nolan, Director Oka, President Gillespie, Ms. Thigpen, SFMTA staff, Taxi Commission staff, and Veolia and Daja staff. Guests, PCC members, and everyone. Welcome to the Muni PCC annual meeting. Doesn't it feel great to be 30? I wish I was 30 again. Annette was right when she said there have been a number of accomplishments this year. The three that stand out the most in my mind is the progress we've made on the debit card project, the award of the Paratransit software routing and scheduling software and management software to Trapeze Software Group, and the delivery of new vehicles by both Eldorado and Bus West. These are vehicles that we are in the process of deploying into service to provide better service to you. Then I can think about the three most important goals for next year. The full rollout of the debit card project, the completion of the Trapeze software integration, and the introduction of shopping shuttles to help augment service to the disability community and other underserved communities. On behalf of Veolia and San Francisco Paratransit, I want to say thank you to all of you for your hard work and commitment. You can count on one thing, that in the next year, and very likely the next 30, we're going to be turning to you for more guidance, and you're going to be called on again to take stands on sometimes tough issues. But I know that everyone working together as we have, that includes SFMTA staff, and let me just say, the SFMTA has one of the best public transit agency staffs I've ever had the privilege of working with. And to my service providers, who I know we all have different goals, objectives, but somehow we all manage to come together to do the most important thing every day, and that's deliver service, quality service to our paratransit riders. I know that together, all of us are going to be able to step up to the plate and make sure that we deliver the services that this community has become accustomed to receiving. It's very important to recognize that the PCC, Senator Yee's not here anymore, but he was talking about money. The PCC doesn't get paid for any of its work that it does. And I think we need to take a moment to recognize that the spirit of volunteerism and all their hard work is greatly appreciated. And in closing, I'd like to recall the words of that great American essayist, philosopher, and poet, Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said, and I quote, "The greatest gift is a portion of thyself." To the Muni PCC, thank you for 30 years of apportioning yourselves out to help create, foster, and guide one of the most effective paratransit and accessible fixed route systems in one of the best cities in this great United States. The very best to all of you on the next 30 years.